on Let Go and Flow.
You gotta let go and flow. Let go and flow. Hey, let go and flow, baby. Better let go and flow.
Welcome to
Ow.
Let Go and Flow, brought to you by your favorite spiritual couple and the Steady Steppin Podcast.
Sponsored by WeJustOutHere.com.
Because we be outside.
Welcome back, everybody, to your new favorite segment, Let Go and Flow, where we talk about just how to just let go, surrender, and go with the flow of the universe.
Yeah, because we just out here flowing. Ain't out here, here's the thing. When you put all your energy into making plans and then you want that plan to happen exactly how you want it to, step by step, sometimes the universe will surprise you. And if you like, oh man, but I want it to happen like this, and the universe will like, baby, I got you right here. And you like, mm. And the universe is like, it's
Okay,
okay.
so I'm gonna
We don't
hop
like that.
in because let me tell you, this man he thinks he's so funny. He's got tears in the side of his eyes because he made himself laugh so hard. Like you just be out here cracking yourself
I
up.
just be out here being magnificent. You know how it is.
Dustin, why don't we tell the people what our topic is for today?
Well, this is my new favorite thing. So we're gonna talk about it. We're talking about fasting to help raise your vibration. But hold up. Before we get this episode started, we would like to say thank you to each and every one of you all that continue to show up every week and spend some quality time with us. Because we know there are so many other things that you guys could be doing on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, like being distracted, hanging out in the Matrix, and just not being present. But you made the decision to come and tap in with us and to really just have some different thoughts and really change your perspective on life to bring that dream out into reality. So shout out to you and everything that you're doing to really break any cycles that you don't want to be a part of anymore and flow. So let's roll into this episode because I'm outside and we traveling. We traveling. We going between dimensions. We going between states, and we challenging everything that we thought we believe because what we thought we believe is only what we know based on what we've been taught. So yeah, let's get it, guys.
I
Let's
love
talk
what
about
you
this
just
fasting.
said. I love what you just said. What we think we know is only something that we have been taught.
Yes.
You heard that?
Because it's so true. Because, like, just because someone taught this to you this way, does that make it right?
Not
You
really.
Or
know?
does it make it the only way?
Or does it make it the only way? That's so true. We weren't taught about when I was growing up. They told us I grew up Catholic, right? So they told us that you had to fast during Lent because that's how you got closer to God. Did nobody explain what that meant? That's what they said. You get closer to God, you gotta fast. And so you gotta give stuff up when you get too gluttonous. That's what they would tell us. And so whole time I would think Lent was just this like made up situation, but I never really understood why fasting was so powerful, or even cleansing if you're not on a fast, because they are two different things, and we'll go into the depths of the two. But why cleansing and fasting is actually raising your physical vibration. So we know everything that is out here that exists is energy vibrating at different frequencies, right? In the middle of the atom, there is mostly space, and in that space is energy that is vibrating that atom at a certain frequency to create whatever physical perception that you are having at the moment. But if everything is frequency, to raise your physical vibration, it only makes sense that the things that you put in your mouth will either raise or lower your frequency based on their frequencies. Does that make sense? Y'all get what I'm saying?
That makes so much sense because when you think about it, the chakras all correspond with different color foods. Except for when you get into the crown chakra. The crown chakra is what you do for fasting because you are releasing and letting go. But you, depending on what level that you consciously let go, it can be, oh, I'm gonna just, stop eating for, a couple of days or a couple of, you know, weeks, couple of heptads, or you can let go of things that are not serving you in that fast, like, oh, I'm gonna give up reality TV, or I'm gonna give up soda pop, or I'm gonna give up, or eating bad, or putting things into my body, into my consciousness that's not feeding it. So there's different kinds of fasting, and it's that human sacrifice where you're going to your altar, your body, and saying, all right, like this, enough of this. This is inappropriate. This is not doing it for me. And so there's different levels to that fasting, and that's when they say fasting will bring you closer to God. They don't really tell you how to do that, how to really with intention go into releasing that everything, your attachments to everything, attachments to food, attachments to sex, attachments to things in your environment, to people, what have you, because then when you go within and you've released everything, you can clearly see the magnificence that God within you.
This is true.
And truly, what I've realized on this journey of fasting, I started fasting when we start. Y'all remember when we read the 12-week year in the morning meetup?
Hmm.
Hmm.
That was the first time I. Well, let me make sure I ain't stepping in on ants. That was the first time I truly fasted, and in that time period, I was on a spiritual journey because the thing about spirituality, right? It's one of those things that you have to make a conscious decision to develop as your weight loss is as an example, or as in parallel with like a weight loss journey, a decision to write a book, a decision to make a complete change, because spirituality is something that you have to be intentional about developing. Like, the beautiful part about it is, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So when I say that, it's the beautiful fact of, when you don't be intentional about slowing down, when you don't be intentional about saying, hey, something about what everyone else is teaching me, or when everyone else is trying to input into my mind, into my body, it doesn't align with how I'm feeling anymore. So that's when that spiritual side of you, or that other source of energy, is like, well, if you don't like it, what you gonna do about it? That's when that thought comes into play. That's that spirituality. Like, well, I let you try everything else. I let you try all these other avenues and stuff that you wanted, that you thought you wanted to try. Let's try it our way. Let's try it the inside way. Let's connect to another source. And with that fasting, that forces your hand to say, hey, I'm going to make a conscious decision to fight and challenge everything that I thought I was supposed to do. For example, eating 3 square meals a day. When you're fasting, you make a decision to say, okay, from my first fast was from 7 a.m. I ate from in between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Whatever I did eat in that time period, it was done for the evening. So even in that time, I get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. So for at 7 by 7 p.m. I would stop eating. So when you stop eating at 7 p.m., say for instance, you stop eating at 7 p.m. and you wake up and rise at 5 a.m. So that's what? 10 hours of digestion. So usually food typically takes about 8 hours to fully digest into the body. So after 8 hours, your food is fully digested. Now it's converted into energy, usable energy. So now your stomach isn't trying to pull energy from other parts of your body like the muscles or the brain to then work. Is now diverted to your brain and your muscles. So now you have more actual usable energy. Um and what I realized throughout my experience is that just my brain is so much stronger. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier. I said, what I realize when I'm fasting or when I'm in a fasting state, my brain isn't so quick to want to quit when I can't figure out a solution. My body isn't so quick to go into a fatigue state of safety. My energy isn't so irritable because it's like I have more energy to think about things. I have more clarity to say, dang. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all an example, right? So I was fixing the toilet and cuz I'm a handyman. So that's what RGC, we do property management. So we were fixing I'm saying we. I was fixing the toilet and I had just ate. It was late. It was about 9 o'clock, and I was like aggravated with the toilet because I'm like I knew what the problem was, or at least I thought, and I was like toilet tank bolts was leaking, and I was like, man, it's gonna take me 30 minutes. So mind you, I was tired. I had just eaten, and it was kind of later than I usually wanted to eat. Aggravated. It took me 2 whole hours to take off a doggone toilet bolt that usually would have took me 30 minutes if I would have just slowed down and realized, just go get some pliers out the car, man, and just break the doggone bolt. You're gonna replace it again. So you know what? I said, we're gonna go home, we're gonna reset, and we ain't gonna eat nothing. So I went back and fixed it early this rising. But you know how long it took me to fix them same toilet bolts again? After I had to take the whole toilet apart. It took me less than 50 minutes. And I still had to do something else that I didn't even really think about because I was like, you know what? You didn't think about everything that it needed to do to be replaced. Because when you replacing certain things, when you take certain components apart that's been on something for so long, you just need to put all new components in that system so it flows like it's brand new. Like who is that always says that? Myron. We trying to run old software on a new computer. It don't work like that. So
Yeah.
that's what fasting does. It forces all that old software, it forces all that old energy to be consumed throughout the body. So then when you put some new fresh energy in there, it's like, "Ooh, I like this. I like this new energy. Let's use this and we're going to use it for the great this time. We not going to we ain't going to mix it up with the bad, you know?"
So true. I love what you talked when you talked about digestion and like your energy. So in order to have a healthy cell, because you are your cells, you are a compilation of your trillions of cells, right? So the health of your body, the health of your life is determined by the healthiness of your cells. It's just like how they say, like, um the team is only as strong as the weakest link. The same thing. If you have weak cells in your body, then you will bring upon dis-ease in your physical body if you have weak cells. But you can strengthen your cells, and your cells only need three things. Your cells, to be a healthy cell, they only need three things. They need oxygen, water, and to eliminate waste. Now, 70 to 80% of your daily energy is spent on digestion. You eating 3 meals a day and snacks and coffee and treats and all this other stuff, right? 70 to 80% of your daily energy is spent towards digestion. So that only leaves like a good 30% left over for cellular regeneration, for healing, for anything else, right? So your body can't do that if you're consistently eating. So when you stop eating after an 18-hour period, after you stop eating, your cells then begin the regeneration process, which is amazing because then that's when your skin starts to glow. That's when them old blemishes and marks start to go away. Them dark circles clear up. The biggest organ is your epidermis, your skin. So when you have skin problems, if you go on a cleanse, it'll clear that up. It'll clear it up. And yeah, I I love just really unifying the idea that your cells, when they are healthier, they are happier, they vibrate at a higher frequency, which means you physically are vibrating at a higher frequency, which means your energy is flowing freely through you. There are no obstructions that are blocking your chakras or anything like that. And the easiest way to do that is through fasting or through cleansing.
And get in the habit of communicating to your cells,
Mm.
because your cells have a consciousness to your body called your innate. So your innate is that part of you that knows when something's wrong with the body and lets you know, like, hey, this part of the body is not doing so good. You need to bring some attention to it. So when you talk to your innate, like you talk to, when you're talking, like when you're praying or when you're meditating or when you're doing affirmations or invocations, speak to it in a way that is calling upon the healing power of your DNA, and give yourself and tell yourself that you are in perfect health, that you have infinite life, that you can heal from anything. So get in the habit of doing that is telling your cells, is programming your body to do what it is that you desire to do, instead of saying, oh, I want this, I want that. Focus on what you do want and speak it to the physical.
Right. And truly, I've been I'm not a vegan yet, y'all. I don't one day I definitely might get there. I ain't gonna make no problem. The psychology lives in a lot of the meat that we eat is linked to a lot of the evil. Like I haven't eaten pork in a while. I used to realize what lunches and about the link of the food. Man, I said because when I'll never forget this. I ate a piece of it was a beef burger. It was a bison burger, and I feel heavy. It was just like in a vicious state for about about almost a full 24 hours. Like I had ate that bison burger 6 that evening, and to the gym at about 7. I literally still burger in, in my belly. Really was saying, bro, we not because we still focusing on digesting this on fast. And it was really at that moment, Destiny, doing that no more. That heavy meat, heavy food that we don't know before it got on our plate. All of that. Though we know that eating very on however we were raised throughout. Once you come to that realization, conscious of what you were eating. So if you was just eating regular hamburgers from now you're gonna say, if I can't, you ain't just gonna stop eating beef on cold turkey. You may be able to start focusing on going leaner, focusing on eating less and less meat or less of that so less of that day by day often you eat it. So if you ate beef, once you go into a conscious state, food and everything affects your body. Okay, slowly but surely, slow down the consumption. So now let's go down to on the beef or on the pork. It was like that for me with the pork. Man, I used to love some baby back ribs, y'all. And I was just like, when I made the decision to stop eating it, and slowly but when family events would come up and they cooking pork, I'm gonna get one piece. And then if I said I don't even want it no more. It's a slow off of that. It's like you weaning you've been on for so long. It won't come slow. It's gonna come with a steady of you being conscious with okay, this time I'm gonna eat less. To the point of I don't even feel like I want to eat. I don't even have that urge to. But that's the becoming conscious about things that like even fasting on so take a time take a.
Hold on a second, Destiny. You skipping a little bit. Um, Say something for us real quick.
Can you hear me good?
That was
Yeah,
okay.
that
Good.
came through
Yeah.
good.
So you said even fasting on, was it social media?
Yeah. I realized right was the one for me, y'all. The music to realize right. You
You're
but
skipping
art.
again.
Oh my goodness. It's trying to stop the flow. Can
I
y'all hear
feel
me good?
like they trying it. They
Man,
trying it.
let me turn the camera off. It's better that way.
Okay. One thing I
So
did want to make a comment though about when you were talking about eating meat. Basically, I'm not sure how to. I guess we got to keep it like that. Um, I love what you said about you're eating DNA when you consume meat. You're eating DNA, and what is stored in DNA? Information. All your DNA is a code of information. So whatever that animal went through in their life and their lineage, okay, that is all stored in that DNA. So you want to wonder why you was feeling so heavy and sluggish because of the stuff that they pumped in the food for the feed for the cows. They made them sluggish. All of the hormones that they would pump in there to make them either extra fertile or not fertile at all, depending on what kind of cow it was and how old they were, or what stage of life they were. All of this stuff they pumped into the cow. They pump into the chicken to fatten and plump it up. Y'all see them chickens nowadays? They are huge. Where you see a chicken that big before?
Hmm.
They pump it with all that stuff, and you want to wonder why you got anxiety, why you got depression, why you got all this stuff going on. It's because you're eating. You become what you eat. You're literally your body will break down through digestion, will break down the vitamins, the nutrients, all of the minerals that they need from the food. They will store some for fat, and the rest of it gets either filtered through waste or absorbed by the body.
And then on top of that, a lot of these animals have parasites in them that.
Parasites, cysts, cancer cells, tumors,
Mhm.
abscess. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to educate yourself about it. I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
No, it's just these animals go through disease and they don't really get taken care of. They really just cut around that after they slaughter them and then feed it to people. Like, oh, this is good. Or if the
and
meat is old, they'll put some coloring in it to
They'll
make it look fresh.
inject it
And
with some stuff to plump it back up.
mhm.
and see the thing that the food that we be talking about because beneficial. Guess who's the who is the beneficiary consuming all this food that for our body? And I'm gonna tell y'all are consuming it. of it. Because check out, because
Man,
in this
Dustin,
society
it
that
sounds like you spit, it sounds like you spitting something fire right now. But you're cutting in
is
and
it
out. Yeah.
oh my
Try to
goodness.
hop off and hop back on real quick.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hop.
Okay. We'll hold it down for you. Okay, so we're gonna hold it down for him. But it's so true. So when you consume DNA on that level, what's going to happen is you start to your cells get the information to assume like, okay, the captain ate this, so we must want to feel this way as well. We want this to become us, right? So what happens is your cells start to absorb all of those extra hormones, all of that tension, all that stress, all that pain, all that torment that these animals went through, the living conditions. Like, oh my goodness, when I was working for FedEx, I would deliver to a dairy farm and I literally would gag every time. Like, not even just being over dramatic or anything. Like, I would spray a bandana, put it around my face, tie it, go inside, carry the packages in there like this, holding my breath, would literally throw it in there, run back in the truck, and have to drive off. And by the time I was back in the truck is when I needed to breathe again. And then I would take a breath in, whether if it was in my mouth or in my nose, it did not matter. It was just automatically would trigger like a gag reflex. And that was because of these horrible conditions that these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of animals live in. Like Sahat said, these animals got parasites, and you eat that, right? And so what happens is on a physical level, your body is receiving that and is saying, okay, let's tell the brain that this is what we want to attract. So then you start to produce more of those cortisol hormones in your body that stress you out because of all the cortisol that was released in the body of the animal before it died. Does that make
All
sense, y'all?
right, we
Welcome back.
tapping
Back,
back in.
brother.
We tapping back in. Can y'all hear me better?
Yeah, we
Yeah, that
can.
sounds
Try
clear.
to turn your
Uh,
camera on.
that is gonna try to stop my flow. I don't want to mess it up.
You good?
Yeah, I had to do that. I had to do a hard reset, y'all, because sometimes in life we gotta turn everything down, restart it, and let it be better than what it was before we restarted it.
There we go.
But
Absolutely.
but the true thing of each and every conversation that we're having is to really enlighten everybody about who's the real asset and who's the real value. And I guarantee you, it's not who you think it is. It's not the people that are providing you all these material things. You, that spirit and that being, are the real asset. So that's why we love to show up every week and speak so highly into you guys, because we speak highly into ourselves. Because when, like Sahat was speaking, when you speak to your cells, they react back. And through that reaction, then they give you a better reality. And the true love and peace behind it is when you realize you're the real asset, then you start to move as an asset, not as a liability. Because the real beneficiary behind all this food that they're pumping out and through these cows and these chickens and everything else are the main people that are forcing all these farmers and stuff to put this into these animals. Because guess what? When we sick, where we go? We don't go do natural healing anymore. Where we go? To the doctor.
To the pharmacy, pretty much.
Huh. Hello. And then where the pharmacy gonna go get their drugs from? Big
Right.
pharma. And that's an ecosystem that they benefit off of. So not only are they making money off producing the animals, they making money off the doctor visits, they making money off the pharmaceuticals. So they're making money 4 or 5 times off of one person
Yep.
Mhm.
and promoting for you to be sick. Because
Yep.
guess what? When you're sick, you can't think well. When you sick, you can't function well. So then guess what? When you sick and you may be on disability because of health reasons, not based on mental health, somebody else is benefiting off of that. Because best believe if somebody taking care of you, somebody else is paying them to take care of you. Ain't nothing free in this country, y'all. Let's really wake up and understand what's really going on. We are in a business. This country that we are part of is commerce.
And
Everything is for profit.
they gonna get their money off of you one way or another.
Hmm.
Hello.
Hmm.
One way or another, and 4 to 5 times in one way. If
Hmm.
you don't realize and understand and really wake up to what's really going on, because they use the food, like Ray was saying, they use the food for programming. Like I was looking at something on Facebook, and it was speaking about the food scientists. I can't really think of their actual name, but how food scientists program DNA into the actual tomatoes and fruit that they're growing to target certain populations and demographics.
That RNA stuff.
Yes,
Hmm.
that is real.
It's atrocious, honestly. Like it is disgusting how far these corporations are willing to go to keep you in that mindset. But you know what's really awesome and amazing? When you fast or when you cleanse, you regain control over whatever RNA, whatever pesticides, whatever chemicals they try to pump into the food. You now have regained control over it because the law of compensation, one of the 12 laws of the universe, states that everything requires an even exchange of energy. So when you give up something that you consciously think you need to live, such as food, and you go on a 3 day, 5 day, 7 day, 10 day fast, what's happening is you are telling the you and I verse, the universe. You can't spell unity without uni, right? So we are
I
all
mean, I
one.
don't mean to cut you off, Ray, but I like how you put that you and I verse. I like it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we are one here. And we are the cells of the planet. The planet is the cells of the universe. You get what I'm saying? So like we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. So what's going on inside your body is reflecting of what's going on outside of your body. So the you and I verse, like the universe, that's exactly what it is. And when you start operating with that level of conscious awareness, you start to realize that I am in control of my own universe, my body, what happens inside of my body. That's the only thing you do have control over. And people want to push their illnesses on genetics. And genetics has absolutely nothing to do with it because what you think are genetics, it's so funny. I was listening to Kevin Trudeau today, and he did this like 14-hour conference called Your Wish is Your Command and recorded disc tapes. It was like a $10,000 conference in the Swiss Alps. And then he created these disc tapes and sold them for like $1,000 a pop, right? Well, I was just listening to that. And basically, he was like, one of his mentors told him that what you think or when your head is right, the facts don't count. When your head is right, the facts don't count. And when his mentor said that to him, he was like, what do you mean? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But then he immediately asked himself, like, okay, well, what is my willingness to learn? What is my willingness to accept change? What is my teachability index? And so he went back to the mentor and he was like, I have a question. You said to me, when the facts are, or when your head is right, the facts don't count. What did you mean by that? And he was like, well, the things that you think are facts are really only somebody's opinion.
I felt that.
The things that you think are facts. You think that eggs are healthy for you. You think that a bovine's milk is healthy for you. You think you get what I'm saying? You think that eating these things are healthy for you because someone taught you that once before, which brings us back to what we said at the beginning, what Destine said at the beginning. Just because somebody taught this to you does not mean it is right. So we're in a space of information right now. This is the age of information, and it is flowing abundantly. And knowledge is the currency. right? So, like we said, the law of compensation, everything requires currency. When you have, once you know something, you can't unknow it. Once you know that you can raise your vibration and begin to manifest things easily, effortlessly, and easefully, you can't unknow that. Like, for example, when I decided to go vegan for the first time, I was like borderline vegetarian for a couple of months, and I watched all these crazy documentaries that scared the life out of me. And then I was like, okay, we're just going to give it all up. And so I went on the master cleanse where I didn't eat for like 7 days. And prior to that, I had gone through a really, really rough patch in life. Like, I would say 6 months before that was like probably my lowest moment. Like, everything was wiped from my plate, clean plate. You know what I mean? Everything, like down to my phone had been off for a few months. I didn't have Wi-Fi. Like, we was making it work. You know what I mean? And so, in that space, I did a lot of inner work. I did a lot of meditation, a lot of like healing and reading and journaling, right? And then I finally decided, okay, well, let me change my diet. And out of all of those things, and don't get me wrong, yes, do all of those things. But out of all of those things, the one thing that brought me the most results was going on a cleanse. I went on a cleanse, and I had gotten a year before this time, I had gotten into this huge car accident. This kid like smashed into the back of my car, totaled my vehicle at a red light, right? Okay. So I hadn't heard from them. They like the insurance company ended up paying off the car, but I didn't have a car. So I'm hopping on the bus 2 hours both ways to and from work, living in Vegas, working two jobs. It was a lot going on. Okay. So I 5 days in, 5 days into this cleanse, I got a phone call that was like, hey, they just closed the case on your insurance policy because we ended up suing the other insurance policy or whatever. We got a $6,000 check for you when you want to come pick it up. And I was just like, what? You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about that check. I had no idea anything about that check. I just made a choice. You make a choice. And once I did that, 5 days, literally 5 days later, my cells were vibrating at such a high frequency. I said, I'm tired of taking the bus. I'm ready for a new car. And then I get the phone call. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Once you know something, you can't unknow it.
Man, and that's so very, very true because, like I was speaking on in my 12-week year that just recently passed, I went through a state of, and just full transparency and vulnerability, y'all. They tried to say I was, they tried to give me, or they tried to label me depressed since the age of 12. And I say depression is more of a mindset than a actual dis-ease, because depression is a feeling. Feelings we know can change based on your mood, based on things that are around you and whatnot. So sometimes still I go through moments of depressed thoughts. And I went through a phase recently. It wasn't depression, but it was more so of a forced reset, because I got to a point where it's like, and I know all of us get to a point where it's like money just isn't enough. Money isn't enough because money cannot buy you happiness. Money can't buy you freedom, mental freedom. Money can't buy you state of mind. So I said, you know what? In this period, I'm not going to focus only on money. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on what is it that I really want to get out of this lifetime? Who is it that I want to become in this lifetime? So I went on a fast of, I'm going to limit what I do as far as my spending habits, because we talked about that sacrifice. Instead of me getting around in the car, riding around burning unnecessary gas because I got the money, I'm going to sit at home so I don't have to spend money that I have on things that I don't need. So while I was sitting at the house, instead of just scrolling with the case of the scrollies, I said, let's spend some time with me. Let's go for a walk. Let's just sit outside in the sun. Let's just let's just love the grass. Let's just look at what I do have. Not let me focus on what I don't have, but let me practice thinking abundance and saying, wow, this grass is so abundant. These trees are so abundant. These birds are so abundant. Living in that mindset of truly, truly being grateful for the abundance that surrounds me. Because inevitably, we know once you're not thinking about what you lack, then you receive what you have. Everything that you think becomes your reality. And when you're fasting, you say, damn, I ain't thinking about taking a nap right now. Let me think about how I can better myself, even though it's not monetary. Let me focus. Let me use this extra source of energy that my stomach hasn't taken. Let me use it for the betterment of myself. Let me knock out a task that I've been procrastinating on because I got energy. Because we know when your stomach don't, because your stomach is your second brain, and we know how much power your brain use. So when you got the extra power, and then you force it to be in a state of real powerful use, you say, "Damn, I cannot think past fixing that toilet." But when I was like, when I woke up and I was rested, recharged, and had a whole source of energy again, I said, Destine, you do this all the time. It's not always the same toilet, but it's still the same foundation. So take it all back apart, look over everything that you touched, and you're gonna find the problem. And there it was. The seal that is supposed to make the water flow seamlessly into the base of the toilet to go out into the plumbing system, it was a gap. And that gap was, and I looked at that gap is the energy that we let and flow out because we're not really, really redirecting it to where it needs to go. Because us being water, that water got to go somewhere. That energy has to go somewhere. So if you don't pull that energy from your stomach and force it back up to your brain through fasting, it's gonna only continue to break down all that food in your stomach. It's only gonna continue to put that gut into an unnecessary overload. And guess what happens when you overload things? They break.
Yeah,
Hmm.
They
man.
break. So let's truly, truly be mindful, y'all. Don't bust your gut wide open when you in your 20s and 30s. Because you got a long, long, abundant, healthy life to live. And if you let this food that's already over processed with our very, very young gut, that's a battle that you fighting unnecessarily.
It's true. I mean, what I think the average age for a woman is like 67 or something like that. Or a man is 67 and maybe it's like 70 something for a woman. It's a few years older for a woman. But in America. Now, that is not a lot of years. That is not a lot of years. You know, in the old days, they used to live for hundreds and hundreds of years, and there are still people on this planet right now that are a couple of hundred years old, 200 years old in Asia, in Africa, South America. They got them.
And if they're eating very little, and they drink a lot of tea, and they are doing energy exercises like Tai Chi, Qigong. So they are filling their battery, their solar plexus energy in that area, filling that energy up so that they don't even need to eat. And that's how, if you ever hear about the masters who have mastered themselves to the point where they can go sit in the middle of the woods and meditate for 40 plus years or something and not age or not need any food or not move or anything. That's how they're able to do that.
And it remember the cell only needs three things to live: oxygen, water, and to eliminate waste. So if you say, okay, oxygen, water to eliminate waste, where does food come into play? That's the thing, it doesn't. We were taught that food is where you get your energy from.
Mm-hmm.
If that's true, then why do you get really sleepy after Thanksgiving dinner, but you are hella energized after the third day of your fast?
If you need energy, just get it from the source, which is around us.
Which source is the prana that is in the air, the energy. There's energy in every molecule of oxygen. So when you breathe in fully that energy from the air, you are also breathing in solar energy. You're breathing in prana. You're breathing in energy. So you don't need food to survive. There are people who have survived without food for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
They call them solitarians or breatharians or what have you. Whatever they want to be called, these people, there are people that do not eat food. They do not eat food. And it's like, oh, well then they juice. No, they don't.
They don't eat anything.
They don't eat food. They do not juice.
Some of them don't even drink water.
Some of them, yeah, some of them don't even drink water. Some of them only drink either coconut water or urine therapy. Don't judge me. This is just the facts.
Man, and truly, truly, the beautiful part about that is we aren't naturally like look at animals, right? We're so connected and so much like everything in nature. Look at each and every animal in the food group. Certain animals eat meat, and those are usually like the bigger predators, like lions, alligators, some snakes, and stuff like that. But that's because their bodies are built for that.
Mm-hmm.
Our bodies aren't really built to break down meat like that.
Look at our
That's why
teeth.
it take us so long to digest.
Does this look like you supposed to bite into a raw hide?
No,
No.
And
because
humans
man,
have to cook their meat before and season it before they eat it. Animals don't.
Right.
they eat it straight off the live flow of the universe.
Right.
They finna kill it fresh and eat it on the spot
Right.
because, like everything we know, things are at their freshest when they just are rising or when they're like in their prime of running or exercising or breathing. Once it don't lay down or set out and it has no more blood circulating through it, it loses a lot of its vitamins. How you think you be so sluggish when you first wake up? Like sometimes I can wake up and be on go, but that's if I've had a really great rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that you bring up Mother Nature and animals because, animals don't eat every day.
I didn't know that.
The only beings that eat every single day are humans.
There are animals that can go years without eating.
Oh, that makes sense because everything goes into hibernation just about. Some form of hibernation or fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Like bears go into hibernation all winter.
Hmm.
Deers go into I don't they don't go into hibernation, but deers don't eat that much once they've gotten full. They
Hmm.
run that off and they burn that energy and then they replenish. Snakes
Mm-hmm.
once like a python. Once a python eats, that python takes weeks to digest that food
Mm-hmm.
and it's just sluggish.
That's true. We got a comment from Derek. Thank you for this. I'm learning to put the delicious Chicago burger down and stop feeling sleepy. I need your inspiration. Thank you. You are welcome, Derek.
Peace and blessings, Derek.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And truly that's the pretty part about what we're doing. Just bringing enlightenment of thought. Like we're just here to truly just bring thoughts and just want you to think differently about what it is that you're consuming, what it is that you're doing, and be willing to challenge your thought. We're not saying we're 110% right on anything, but if we can challenge a thought, it's up to you to go research it and see how it can be applied in your life.
Absolutely.
And we're here to share the things that we did not learn in school. So infinitely go do your research because there's only so much that we can touch on each topic, each session. So go and expound on the infinite knowledge on the things that we talk about.
Absolutely.
Google is your, search engines like DuckDuckGo.
They don't pay us.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're gonna travel, travel safely on all planes, including the internet.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, definitely do your research. And like I said, we're in the age of technology right now. So information is flowing abundantly. If you want to know something, look it up. Look
Man,
it up.
and it's so many sources. Don't just look at don't just look at one or two. Look at all of them for similarities because even though they may be saying different things, each one of them may have one or two things that they all have in common of the same foundation.
And I also want to say to be careful of the agenda. Look at the source when you're looking things up. Like, for example, the people that make the food pyramid are also the corporation owners that make the food. And they're also the people that sponsor these dis-ease organizations.
Food and Drug Administration.
Right. Big Pharma runs the food industry, which runs your drugs industry, which we know is a vicious cycle that just continues over and over. You go to the doctor, they prescribe you drugs. The drugs they give you side effects for something else. For you to go back to the doctor to deal with the side effects, they give you more drugs. It's just, it goes on and on.
That sounds like
Right.
an ecosystem, right?
I'm trying to tell you, this was well planned and well thought out, and because big pharma, because corporations, they run and control the narrative that takes place in the everyday media. That's why I like to find resources of people who have either actually done it themselves or people who have like expert advice regarding whatever this topic is. Like, for example, Dr. Sebi, he lived that life. He was about that life. He died living that life. They killed him living that life. You know what I'm saying? So I like to do research where people who I know for a fact are living the life that they say that they're living, and they have proof. They have social proof. Like, oh well, I 100 people did this, and this was the example of these 100 people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like pulling out of the akash. But listen to people who have what you want. Don't just listen to the main narrative that's being pumped out in the media. Because let's take this whole pandemic for example, and I'm gonna be careful because I'm on YouTube or whatever, but let's take that for example, and the narrative that they pushed out from the very jump. Y'all remember before they told us that it was a respiratory situation, that they told us it came from bat soup in China?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all remember that in January of
Y'all remember that
2020?
in January?
Oh wow.
I seen something else about that whole, we're gonna call it the PD, about the whole PD situation and how now Congress is, well, not Congress, but the House of Representatives are now exposing people in the higher ups
Mm-hmm.
and demanding answers that they refuse. They're saying they need to go into it's a special room where you can't have any technology or anything to talk about certain things that are very, very critical.
Ooh, it's a
Like,
timeout
and
for.
like Ray was saying, don't just, huh?
I said that's a timeout for grown up. That's a timeout for grown up.
Man, I'm telling you. And really, think about what resonates with you. What feels right? What doesn't feel right? Because you know how you have that, we're going to call it divine intuition. When you just be like, something about this situation don't feel right. It doesn't sit well with my spirit or my mind. 9 times out of 10, if it don't sit well with your spirit and your mind, it might not be right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And you can also try something.
You can also try something.
Oh man, I can hear my voice.
Oh man, I
Okay,
can hear my voice.
I'm gonna mute you. Okay. This is just throwing me off. You can also try something called muscle testing, where you'll like basically, like, let's say you're in a grocery store and you want to see if this food is good for you. You can take it and put it somewhere like close or on your body and feel if your muscles react to it. And you can train your muscles on what to do by talking to your Nate. Like, okay, if this is good for us, like, don't do anything. If it's not good for us, like, kind of jump or twitch or move. And when you feel that seize up, that tension, that glitch, that moment, that is your body telling you, no, this is not good for you. Don't do it.
Another way to muscle test is to like hold the food, like say you got a box of macaroni and cheese, just place it on top of your head, and if you can twerk without the box falling off of your head, then it's good for you.
Y'all, don't.
Don't be twerking with no macaroni and cheese on y'all head, y'all.
Hey, do want to do it's world.
Hey, you know what? Hey, and like Sahat said, if you can twerk and it stay on your head, it's your world. So hey,
Right.
twerk on, please.
Y'all are a mess. Y'all are a mess.
Y'all are a mess. But truly, 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 y'all, just slowly but surely, just become more conscious about what you digest, and not only with the food, but with the conversations that you're having, because that's digested into your brain as brain food, and then that turns into thought food, and that turns into actionable action.
That's true.
So just really, really analyze. And I say this all the time because I do the same as well, and I'm still doing it every day because I mean I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. Don't let me get me started on me. But I'm being conscious about where I am and focusing on doing my part to be better. So when you become more conscious about everything that you consume, then you'll start to see everything that you produce. And you'll start to see the correlation in consumption to production. Because it's all related. Whether you want to believe it or not, what you eat turns into what you produce physically. What you think turns into what you produce mentally. What you feel turns into how you act mentally. All that stuff go. That's that law of equal return. How you say it, Ray? Is that right? How you say it?
The law
The
of
law, the law of
correspondence. Which law are you talking about?
which law you talking about? Yeah, where you what you get in, you what you put in, you get back out.
Law of exchange.
The law of currency.
Yeah, the law of alchemy.
Okay, we just saying different stuff now.
It's the same thing.
The same thing. But truly, again, y'all, because we about to wrap it up. This has been another lit situation of let go and flow. I can't sing, but
Let
you
it
already
go and
know.
flow.
Got the acoustics in the
Got
background.
the acoustics in the background. Man.
We just need an auto tune mic.
I'm telling you, cause hey, we're gonna be like those great auto tune rappers that make hits on the show. But
Don't
listen,
get
before we leave,
technology.
y'all,
I'll cut up to the max.
huh?
I said, don't give me the technology. I'll cut up to the max.
Hey, man. So this week we gonna give y'all a call to action. Truly, truly look at everything that you consuming and just take one thing out of your normal diet, whether it be social media, eating, and fast on it for about a week. Like if you say no social media for a whole week, next week when you come back on the show, just look at how your energy is. Look at how your attitude is. I guarantee you're gonna see a difference. And see, I can't see the comments, but Ray can see it, and we see it when it pop up on the screen. So this is the test for y'all. Fast on one thing this week for a full week. And let us know next week on the show what y'all got out of it.
Yeah, matter of fact, go ahead and drop it in the comments right now. What are you giving up this week? What are you fasting? For example, me and Sahat right now, we're on a cleanse right now. So we are giving up a lot of foods. We're only eating like fruits, smoothies, and a salad, if that, and maybe some nuts throughout the day. And that's it.
And been good. Been eating a whole lot less, ready for the master cleanse.
Yeah, so in a couple days, we're probably going to go no food at all and then just be on all liquid. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in to Let Go and Flow today, everybody. And don't forget to drop in the chat. What are you giving up this week? We want to know. We want to know.
Yes.
And we will see you next week for another episode.
And continue to vibrate in your magnificence.
And move with intention.
That part.
Any closing words for him, Destine?
Let go and flow. Let go and flow. 'Cause we said so. We Said So is brought to you by Spirit. 'Cause Spirit has said.
I love this. Yeah, that we have a comment. Before
Can y'all hear me? I think you guys are frozen.
We can now. We can hear you now. But yeah, we have Pastor Lester Roloff gave many warnings back in the day about the chemicals that they were placing in the soil. Eat to live, as the prophet Elijah Muhammad said. Exactly, eat to live.
Mm-hmm.
I have a garden out back in a patch of land. I
That
love
part.
that. Yes.
That part.
And living and moving with intention. Thank you
I
so
love
much for
that.
tapping in. We appreciate your contribution for sure. And Destine, come on. We heard you for a second. Where'd you go? See, when you vibrating too high in frequency, the technologies can't even perceive you in this dimension, man.
Hey man, if you in this dimension, you might want to bring it back.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We will be back with y'all for another episode next week. Same time, same place. We'll see you here.
Or next heptad if you talk like
If you
that.
talking spicy.